This week's been a pretty fucking horrible week, to be perfectly honest. And I think because of that, I've probably been a pretty horrible person to be around. I don't know. But yeah, so I figured it would maybe be good to talk about a few things that I don't know, people don't always seem to understand. Like, I'm quite fortunate that I like to think my boyfriend understands there's quite a lot of stuff that I don't really have a lot of control over. So, you know, there are some things that I, like, really just can't do, or things that I'm compelled to do. I don't know, things that I do automatically without really even realising that I'm doing them a lot of the time. I'm fairly self-aware, and for the most part I'm fairly good at managing shit, but like this week, for example, I've had a college assignment to do which I've put off doing for like 3 weeks, so I was pretty pissed at myself for that. And then I had all the psychosis and shit going on, so it made things really hard for me. Focusing on college work is hard when you're tripping balls for no reason, really. And my moods have been up and down and up and down, and I don't know, we get a pretty bad rep, you know, people with personality disorders in particular. I think we generally have a reputation for being extremely unstable, volatile, mean, bitchy, uncaring, unempathetic, you know, unsympathetic. And there's a lot of these things can be true of us, at least on occasion, but it's not always something that we can do anything about, you know. Like, I know that my boyfriend, for example, has been struggling with stuff a lot lately. You know, he's been feeling pretty down, and you know, he's been in need of my support, and I have been really fucking cold and heartless, to be perfectly honest. Like, I'll listen to him, and I'll sort of do my best to talk things through with him and try and support him in that way. But when it comes to sort of like all the sort of, oh, you know, it must be really shitty to be feeling like that right now, do you want to cuddle, you know, I physically cannot. I don't know, it must be really fucking hard, like, for someone with as many mental health issues as me not to be able to support their partner when they're having mental health issues. Pretty fucking ironic, really. But yeah, and it's, I don't know, on the one hand, I feel like I should feel bad about it. I do feel a little bit bad about it, because I recognise that that's not what people expect. You know, people expect a little bit of sympathy, and they expect support from their loved ones, and you know, and I'm generally fairly good at giving that, you know. But when I'm having a hard time, it all kind of shuts down, and I withdraw and kind of emotionally dissociate, I think, to a certain extent. I can be really, I don't know, it's hard to explain without coming across as a completely heartless bitch. So, you know, I struggle with stuff a lot, with interactions with other people, and expectations, and just basically sussing out the correct reaction, the appropriate response for what someone is, I don't know, presenting, you know. And I guess, like, for a lot of us with PDs, it's, you know, it is hard for us. We don't we don't choose to be that way, you know. We don't choose to be whatever you find unpleasant about us. It's not a deliberate attempt to piss you off or anything, you know. It's just we're programmed to work that way, you know. It's, I don't know, I suppose you don't expect a tin opener to be any good at cooking dinner. That seems like a really ridiculous analogy to me. Can't even think of a better one. You know, we work the way that we work, and we work that way for a reason, you know. It's not something that we chose, and a lot of the time it's not really something that we enjoy. It causes a lot of problems, especially with relationships. You know, relationships are hard. I would imagine they're really fucking hard for people that are with us, but for us they're particularly hard, you know, because we're responding in a way that comes naturally to us, and when we're shouted at for it, or we're made to feel that we've done wrong for doing that, it's confusing. It can be really confusing, because you know, how else am I supposed to deal with it? I quite often have to have people explain to me why something I've done has affected them, and in what way, you know, because I'm able to empathise with people, but I don't always connect the dots in the right way, you know. And it's important for people to remember that there's a train coming. It's important for people to remember there's a train coming. And they probably shouldn't step on the tracks right now. But yeah, it's important for me, for people to remember, like people in my life to remember that I may come across as a pain in the fucking arse sometimes, but it's not deliberate. I don't deliberately set out to piss people off. Not generally, anyway. Sometimes, admittedly. But who doesn't, really? And I think that's a problem for me as well, is that if I feel hurt or disrespected or annoyed by somebody, then I won't necessarily lose empathy for them, but I'll stop giving a crap. You know, the walls will come down, and I will not, I don't know, I'll try to be nice and try to perform in a way that is expected of me, but I really, really struggle with it, and sometimes it's completely impossible for me to pull it off. So I just end up being horrible. I'm not necessarily proud of it, but I also don't feel bad about it. This is something that I've been struggling with, like, the last couple of days, on and off for a while. You know, I don't know. I think a lot of the time, if I don't know how I'm supposed to react to something, I'll sort of assess the situation and figure out a close approximation and take it from there. But I don't know. I'm able to acknowledge the effect. If I've had a negative effect on someone, I'm able to acknowledge that, and I'm able to acknowledge that may have caused them issues, and I can kind of understand their issues to a certain extent. I can empathise, but I don't really experience remorse. You know, I'm aware that I should probably be feeling it, but I generally don't. You know, and that, it kind of troubles me a little bit, because I feel that's mean, but at the same time, well, it's nice not feeling bad about things sometimes. That sounds terrible. And it's not because I don't want to, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've punished myself over so many things. When I'm fucking depressed, I will feel so much regret and horror at what a terrible, terrible person I am. You know, it's kind of a routine with BPD, I suppose. You know, self-hate and self-loathing and self-destruction is kind of our thing, you know. So when I'm in that kind of headspace, I will feel terrible for fucking everything wrong I've ever done, even if other people don't see that I've done anything wrong. You know, people will constantly justify my behaviour for me, And I'll throw it back in their faces, quite frankly. I'm like, no, I'm a terrible person. You should acknowledge that I'm a terrible person. I want you to make me feel better. I want you to let me sit here and suffer in my pit of despair and self-loathing for a little bit. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about stuff lately. This week has been, I don't know, I haven't felt this unstable for a while, and I don't think it's necessarily the just the amitriptyline that fucked me up. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. I don't really feel a lot right now. I feel little pockets of things, like I got really bubbly and chatty with the lady in Sainsbury's when I bought like tobacco. Just out of the blue, all of a sudden I'm happy and bubbly and this is who I am right now. And now I'm just kind of like, nah. You know. But yeah, I think when I'm stressed, I withdraw a lot. I think, I don't know, some of it's narcissistic, I think, and some of it is schizotypal. It's fairly new to me, this diagnosis is fairly new, so I'm still figuring it out and figuring out what goes where and what's causing what. And I don't even know why I'm doing that. I figure if I can understand the root cause of it and the reason for the reaction, then I can maybe learn to manage it a little bit better. But yeah, it's still fairly new, and I know that when I'm stressed out, when I've got a lot going on in my head, like I tend to isolate myself. I withdraw from people completely, like physically and emotionally, as much as possible. And I'm not really able to do that at the moment, like physically at least. So I've apparently taken to emotionally dissociating from everyone around me, and putting up a big old wall. So no one really knows what's going on with me, which is helpful, I'm sure, for everyone involved with me. But yeah, I don't know, but I'm okay. Today I don't have anything to do. I finished my assignment, I handed it in, had a good day at college yesterday, thoroughly enjoyed myself and didn't really want to come home. And then, yeah, I woke up today and I have nothing to do. Well, I do, but I don't have anything I have to do today. So I figured I'd come make a video. It's probably a terrible video, but I thought I'd make the effort. Since the last time I made a video, I cried. That was terrible. I haven't felt that bad in a long time. But yeah. So basically, the point of this video is that, you know, if you're in a relationship with someone that has a personality disorder, whatever personality disorder it may be, like, take some time to get to know their thought processes, you know, get to know the symptoms and the way they affect them, and try not to take it too personally when they're fucking horrible, because a lot of the time we can't help it. And having people shout at us and make us feel bad about behaving in a way that comes naturally to us, it doesn't help. Take it from me, if you try to do that, things will get so much worse for you. And it'll be us that look like the crazy ones. It'll be us that are the ones that get blamed for everything, you know. And actually, quite a lot of the time, the people around us don't realise quite how much they're exacerbating the situation, you know. And that's hard for us to deal with, you know, especially with BPD. You know, validation is really important to us. It mostly seems to come about because we've had our emotions consistently invalidated. We've been dismissed a great deal, you know. We've been made to feel that we're overreacting, you know, and being over emotional and flying off the handle over nothing, making a mountain out of a molehill, you know, all these things. These are things we get consistently told, and they're it's being made to feel that way in the first place that has made us act this way, you know. So stop perpetuating the fucking cycle, you know? I know that it's hard, and I know that we're hard to deal with, but we quite often don't have a choice in how we react to things. And you quite probably do. So, you know, yeah.